Now, there's numerous ways to design a car, but in the Econo-sedan market, well, there may just be one. Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, behind me is the latest addition to 2015 Hyundai Accent, and from the outside, there are a lot of lookalikes. So the term Econo in my mind means basically small in stature and pretty much a low bottom line, both of which describe the Accent. Now, in this compact sedan market, what are referred to as the lookalikes is it's really a tight market, meaning there's not a lot of wiggle room to kind of redesign or reinvent this market. So when you look across the board, everything from the Nissan Versa, the Chevy Sonic, and even the Toyota Corolla, you're seeing kind of a lot of similarities. Now, one of the first differences you're going to find between the three vehicles has to be up front, and really here on the Accent, they do it quite well. Again, body color all the way around, something you're going to see on the other models just the same, but really it comes down to the grille warfare, the design. Now here on the Accent, fairly simple with this nice horizontal opening and kind of this lower intake. That compared to the Versa that has horizontal slats, very broad, and a huge open mouth kind of airflow down here at the bottom. Another difference you're going to find is really in the headlight design here on the Accent with this kind of sweeping going around the quarter panel kind of look. That versus the Versa, that's kind of more of a chiseled vertical version, and even the Sonic kind of goes old school with a cylinder-like approach. One area that really becomes plain Jane on these Econo cars has to be the side. Now on the Versa, they really go with kind of a straight panel, no real curves to notice, but here on the Accent, what they did is add these little ridges really right down here in the upper panel of the door and down low, and that kind of gives you some kind of carryover from the other models in the Hyundai lineup. Now, when you look at the profile, there's kind of minimal differences there, but there's just a few to note. One thing is on the Sonic, they kind of have a beefier hood that seems to be a little bit more out of place. Here on the Accent, they go with the Hyundai kind of architecture, the fluid design that really takes the hood, sweeps it into the roof line, and it all kind of culminates here at the back end with a very modest deck lid that's barely pronounced. By the numbers, the Accent measures in about 172 inches overall, right on par with the Sonic, but just a hair shorter by about 3 inches than the Versa. Now, as for the wheelbase, it's 101.2 inches, about 2 inches bigger than the Sonic model. The Accent's sitting on 16-inch wheels, and one thing to note, well, there's a little bit of road harshness, and one thing I found, well, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to kind of hit this undercarriage, and you kind of really hear it on the inside, something to be expected when you're really snug in the road. Under the hood, the Versa and the Accent come equally equipped with a 1.6-liter inline four-cylinder engine, while the Sonic is technically a 1.8. Now, by the numbers, actually the Sonic and the Accent are equally equipped there with 137 horses and 123 foot-pounds of torque. Now, surprisingly, for some reason, the four-cylinder found on the Versa is somewhat anemic, coming in around about 109 horses and 107 foot-pounds of torque. What does a 1.6 liter feel like behind the wheel? Pretty much it's not rocket science and somewhat lethargic. Now, what I found is when you're going down the road, it takes a little bit of kind of rolling start to get this thing get up and go. Now, once you're at kind of full speed, it will mingle with traffic, kind of with ease, but off the line, there's not much boot scooting boogie. Regardless of bottom line, a lot of vehicles are going kind of to the smart key system, but not here on the Accent. They pretty much keep it old school traditional. Now, what that means is, well, maybe a little cumbersome around the perimeter as you try to get in the car, because after all, there is the good old keyless remote, but when you get around to the trunk, not so the case. Now, swinging around to the trunk area, this is where the good old key is going to come into place, because you can't use the fob. You're going to have to go old traditional route. Now, you can pop the trunk from inside. Otherwise, you're going to go here, kind of go here, and that's right, manually lift it out of the way. Now, once it's up and running, you pretty much squeeze in here to about 13.7 cubic foot of space. Now, even better, if you want to extend that even more, those back seats do lay flat. When it comes to comfort, all three vehicles have similar numbers by legroom, all averaging about 41 inches up front, which is on par for vehicles this size and even bigger. Now, one thing I like we found the Accent was the ability to kind of manually raise and lower this seat, and that what's great is makes this seat adjust to the driver's height. On the dash is pretty much a straightforward kind of display, something we've seen on other vehicles upgraded with an LC touchscreen. On this one, it came basic with the radio and the simple buttons that go around with it. Now, one thing I thought might be hard to use is the Bluetooth connectivity, but it was really easy. You just simply hit here and pair your phone with it and stream your music with ease. Keeping the dash simple is pretty much easy when you look at the climate controls, because they pretty much go with the standard 3 selector knobs, one for temperature, fan speed, and the good old mode select. Now if you're looking for connectivity, well, look down below in this little niche. It's going to hold your phone with ease and connect just the same. The Accent can come equipped like it is here with the 6-speed automatic transmission or a 6-speed manual. Now if you do prefer a manual-like mode, simply pop it over here and shift the gears on the fly. Now I pretty much like to leave it here because after all, this is somewhat of a modest offering under the hood, so automatic and forget about it. Now when you sweep down to the center, what you're going to find is dual cup holders. One's a little bit small in the front, one's a little bit deeper, and I found it handled my drinks with ease. And last but not least is the center console. It offers a decent storage, just enough to throw some gear in there and forget about it. Now looking at backseat legroom, this is where the Versa kind of wins out with that extra length, gaining about 4 inches here on the Accent. Now by the numbers here, you're looking at about 33 inches, that versus the Versa, which has about 37. Now all that translates to is a little more knee bleeding here on the Accent and maybe a little bit tighter quarters. But one thing I found to help with that is moving the front seat backs up just a hair. Now judging for this edition of Road Warrior, a test drive behind the wheel of the 2015 Hyundai Accent. Again, a close look-alike to a lot of other offerings on the road. Now one thing we like about this, it has decent horsepower, has great cargo, and pretty much delivers you in a really bottom line offering. Now again, we'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.